all this Shohei Ohtani has me thinking. Shohei Ohtani, in case you don't keep up with baseball at all, he can pitch, he can hit, he can do it all. He's the entire circus coming to town. And he is probably going to be a free agent at the end of the year. He's probably the best natural athlete in baseball since, in a different way, it's a different generation since a guy named Babe Ruth. People just don't. If you may be a college baseball fan and think that guys hit and pitch, they don't do that in the major league. Who's the best? So I'm going to say he's the best natural athlete in baseball, maybe since Babe Ruth, considering it contextually. Caleb, who's the best athlete in the history of Tennessee football?
Natural athlete?
Just natural, walk on the field, I'm good. And if you can top mine, then I'm giving you a Hooker t-shirt because mine is number one and there is no competing. The challenge is on. The gauntlet has been laid. You cannot top this one.
Hey now.
Called out.
Is it Jamal Lewis, maybe? Jamal Lewis was a physical freak.
He was a physical freak, but not as freaky as this guy in his time.
Okay. You say so in his time implies earlier than that. So
that's true.
Are we going to go Condrich Holloway?
That's crazy.
No. I don't think Condrich Holloway is a very good athlete. Very good athlete.
I thought one of the freakiest athletes, and I want to give him a congratulations because he made the College Football Hall of Fame last week, but John Henderson, 6'7", 290, and he ran a 4.6 40, I think. That's insane.
I didn't realize he ran a 4.6. That's insane. I just repeated you. I didn't mean to do that. That's inane. All right. You want another guess? Anybody on the message board? If you go to the message board, if you tell me who I'm thinking of, the best athlete that
Carl
has ever...
Pickens?
No.
All right, give it up.
It's Doug Atkins.
Oh, Doug Atkins for his time. Okay.
A transcendental athlete who was 240 pounds about 20 years before defensive linemen were 240 pounds. So keep that in perspective. But literally would jump over offensive linemen, Caleb. He was an incredible natural athlete. And he was one of those, maybe a better comparison is like a Shaq. I mean, who has been able to move like Shaq before or after? Just physical freak. If you want to go multi-sport, there's Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. I'm sure Atkins could do whatever he wanted to, whatever field he showed up on.
And for people questioning, and I think you and I do this the same way, Dave, when we compare athletes, it has to be relative to its time. And so when I say something, so for instance, technically Usain Bolt has beaten all of Jesse Owens' records for running track. But Jesse Owens was a greater athlete for his time than Usain Bolt is for his time because Jesse Owens dominated more than Usain Bolt did. I think we would agree with that, right?
Yes, I can roll with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Top Troop says got to go back and see some from this guy. And just one of the most incredible interviews I've ever been a part of, and I've talked about that before. But, I mean, literally you're talking about this is not – I don't think this is an exaggeration. By the way, I played last night with the Golden State Warriors against my son. It was the all-time Warriors, so it's basically just the team that won a championship with Wilt Chamberlain. He still beat me by 18 points. But I think Doug Atkins is basically Wilt Chamberlain of football for that era. I think he was that good.
Yeah, I could absolutely roll with that. The crazy part about Wilt Chamberlain, if you say that, is Wilt Chamberlain could actually have run with those Golden State teams. He was ridiculously fast. I was reading about his, for a guy that big, he could have played in these type of offenses that the NBA runs today if he wanted to.
He was also an incredible racquetball player. Did you know that?
Did not know that. Interesting.
Okay, go ahead and pull that up if you can on the screen. Just go racquetball player Wilt Chamberlain. And imagine him standing just in the middle of the court, and you had no way of hitting the ball around him at any point because it's all a game of positioning, just like rebounding. Have you found a picture of Wilt Chamberlain before we get to Fred White on the cover of Racquetball Inc. magazine?
It's Racquetball Inc. magazine. Okay.
I have no idea if it's Racquetball Inc. I don't know if they.
I thought that.
even incorporated back then.
But I see a picture of him playing volleyball, and he apparently dominated with that too.
You know who else plays volleyball, don't you?
Who?
Thank you, Nico. Yes, he plays volleyball.
Okay, just saying. Seeing Wilt Chamberlain's body playing beach volleyball makes you see this is how he got 10,000 women.
Well, that's the thing that people don't realize. Like a lot of times, these guys get bigger and out of shape later in their lives. But there was a time where Shaquille O'Neal had a six-pack, and I know that sounds crazy, but best natural athletes to play Tennessee football, as Shohei Ohtani looking for a new home, it appears, or could stay, of course, with the Angels. But who else comes to mind as just far as great natural athletes on Tennessee? If you go back to, I think Condridge is a very good one. You know your Tennessee football as well as anybody. Can you go back any further than that?
Well, even recent. What about Jason Witten? I mean, that was a natural athlete when you look at his size and his speed.
Yeah, and still to this day, there are a lot of people that were involved with that football team that says Jason Witten would have been every bit as good of a defensive end as he would have a tight end. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that he made the switch pretty easy, and he was statistically is Tennessee's most successful tight end of all time. Is that right?
I think he might be. There were probably some other ones. I'm trying to think. I know Luke Stalker had a pretty good statistical season in 2009.
I'll throw one at you, not just because he's going to be on the Celebrate 98 series, but when you stand next to Deion Grant and you realize he's a true 6'5" or 6'4", and the way he moved, that's one that takes you aback. Sometimes you stand next to these guys, and I'm sure you stood next to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's a solid 6'5". He's not kind of 6'5". He's a solid 6'5". So that you have to consider size-speed ratio. So, but another one that deserves to be in the conversation is Albert Haynesworth.
Yes, he was.
If Albert Haynesworth, and he would admit this, had a little bit more of a mature approach towards football, he already made over $100 million because he got franchise tagged twice. He got the $30 million from Washington, so he already did really well. He could have been a guy who made even more, 150, 175 million. And he's probably just right at over 100 million. Portions of the program brought to you by Craft Treats. Think of some more for me. These guys don't need Craft Treats because they're doing just fine. Go to crafttreats.com. Use the promo code Off the Hook. The promo code Off the Hook and get 20% off. That promo code will get you 20% off the chill pills, which are awesome if your pet is suffering from digestive issues, arthritic issues, or perhaps even just anxiety. Crafttreats.com. Use the promo code Off the Hook. So who else is on that list? I got a Deion Grant on there for you when I think size-speed ratio.
I mean,
go ahead.
What about Leonard Little?
Yeah, I would think has to be on there. I would definitely think Leonard Little would be on there. He is, he was just, even in the NFL, he was just an incredible athlete.